Truly it's a blessing for us to be here and it humbles to know that Yahweh is with us, a small people, and He is with us wherever we go and wherever we travel. And truly again, it humbles me to know that the work that we are doing is reaching out to lives and to souls and changing it for good. And many can come and testify of the work that Yahweh is doing through the word that is being proclaimed from time to time. And with all the testimonies that we heard this morning, glorifying Yahweh for His good work, His goodness and His grace, truly it humbles us to know that yes, Yahweh is working with us and He is doing this mighty work through us to help others on this path to gain salvation and most of all to glorify His great name in these last days. And here we are today in the Arrow at Brother James' place, and we're happy to be here. We always enjoy our stay when we come to this part of the island, and the warmth and the fellowship that we share with one another. It truly builds us up in the Yahweh as we grow in grace and in the knowledge of His Son, Yahshua the Messiah. So wherever He leads, we follow, and we know that He is with us, never forsaking us, always there to lead us on this path. In Mark chapter 4, as I begin this message, I want to read from verse 1. Mark chapter 4 and verse 1. And again he began to teach by the seaside, and there is gathered to him a very great multitude, so that he entered into a boat and sat on the sea, and all the multitude were by the sea on the land. And he taught them many things in parables, and said to them in his teaching, listen. Again, the word that Almighty Yahweh been using way back in the Torah was being used here by His Son, Yahshua the Messiah. Again, he made mention many times that these words are not mine, but they are my Father. He said, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that comes not from me, but from Yahweh. And again, many times Yahweh has been calling mankind to listen. He spoke to Adam in the garden, and He told Adam, listen. He told Noah, go and build an ark, and Noah had to listen. He told Abraham to leave the Chaldeans, leave his father's house and journey to a land that he knew not. And he had to listen, to pay attention to each word and obey them. Listen, Yahshua said, behold, the sower went forth to sow, and it came to pass as he sowed, some seed fell by the wayside, and the birds came and devoured it. He's speaking in parables. For those who can understand Him, they are going to be lifted up to a higher level. As for those who are not able to understand Him, they are going to remain at that level. The parable calls us to listen attentively so that we can even understand what is being said. This is why He said, listen, you have to leap forward, bend your ear forward even, so that you can understand what Yahshua is about to say. The sower went out to sow, and he's speaking in terms that we can identify with. A simple man can identify with. The farmer can identify with the seed, with the sower, and also with the soil. But what he's saying that the sower went forth sowing seeds, and as he sowed, some fell again in places where the birds came and devoured it. On the sidewalk. In those days, it's not like the sow seed today. In those days, the farmer or the sower will have a bag around him, and the bag will have the seeds in it. And so he will take his hand, take out the grain, the seed, and he will just scatter it like this as he goes. And so some fell by the wayside. And those that fell by the wayside, they were devoured by the birds because they are easily seen by the wayside, and so the bird can pluck them up very easy. They are devoured by the bird. Other fell on the rocky ground where there is not much soil, and immediately they sprang up because it had no deepness of earth, and the sun was risen, and it scorched, and because It had no root, it withered away. And others fell among the thorns, and the thorns grew up and choked it, and it yielded no fruit. Others fell also into the good ground, and it yielded fruit, growing up and increasing, and brought forth 30-fold, 60-fold, and 100-fold. And he said, he that has an ear, let him hear. Are we listening to the voice of Yahshua the Messiah? As he began this parable, we want us to pay attention to it, for there is a great, great lesson in this parable as the sower goes out to sow. The sower has a job to do, a work to do for Almighty Yahweh. And he is doing his part as he sowed the seed, but he has no control over the soil, over where it's falling. He's scattering the grain, knows not whether it's going to come forth or not, but he is doing it in faith. The sower is doing his part in faith. And we see that those that fell out of where he wanted to fall, it fell on the wayside. Again, the birds devoured those very easily. Those that are preying upon the grain, those that are seeking to eat up what Yahweh has for those to bring forth fruit, even to grow up, to bring forth fruit. There are those birds that are seeking to devour. The seed we will see later on represents the word of Almighty Yahweh. And there are some rocky soils also, even in the ground that he is sowing the seed. There are soils that are not so good to bring forth the grain, to cause it to swell and produce. Where it had not much ground again, but mostly rock, and we know it's difficult for anything to grow on a rock. There is a few plants that grows on rock, but those plants don't actually bring forth any fruit at all. If you are looking to plant something that brings forth fruit, you cannot look for rocky soil, but you look for soil that is moist and workable. Immediately it springs up again, and when the sun comes out, it is gone, it is scorched. And Yahweh is looking for a special soil, so to speak, in these days as the word goes forth. But are we that soil that when the seed is sown, it is causing the seed to germinate, to grow, and also to spring up and bring forth fruit? Others fell among the thorns, and the thorns grew up. We always have to beware, as we heard this morning in the message, coming after the true worshippers. And those thorns are seeking to choke, to push, to try you so that you bring not forth fruit in Yahweh. Falling among the thorns is very dangerous for the good seed. The thorns is there ready to cover that plant even though it springs up, to destroy it, to choke it as I said, and it yields no fruit. This is the work of the adversary, to see that the thorns pressure the good seed, the good grain, the good plant, so that it doesn't bear. Others fell on good ground and yield much fruit, growing up and increasing. Again, that soil is helping the seed. The soil is helping the plant. The soil is helping the fruit, so that it can overpower the thorns. It can overpower anything that is in its way to see that it doesn't grow up. And so it is very important here to catch that good soil. And this is what we want to focus on. The good soil. Are we good soil? Are we preparing that ground to see that it is good for the word of Almighty Yahweh, so that when the sower sows the seed, that soil is going to help the seed and help the plant and help the fruit, so that we will have a good crop. This is our responsibility now. The sower is doing his work. Are we doing our part to see that the soil is good, that it is not rocky? Are we going to the soil and removing the rock, removing the thorns, removing anything that is going to be a problem for the seed when it is sown in the field? This is our part to do. And Yahweh is looking on us to provide that good ground, that good soil as he sows the seed. Others fell into the good ground and it yield. This is what we're looking for, a good yield. We're looking for a good word. We're looking for encouragement. We're looking for the praise to go to Almighty Yahweh when the word is being heard, and not the other way around, choking the word and despising others. but rather a building up, a growing plant that grows and grows and flourishes and brings forth fruit. The good ground is going to aid that plant. But without the good ground, again, that plant is going to suffer. The good ground, most important, let us see that we are providing that good soil for the word. It's going to yield, growing up and increasing. It's not going to die, it's not going to grow up and then die as on the rocky soil or any other soil that is not good for the seed. But the good ground again is going to always cause the plant to increase and increase and bring forth some 30, some 60, and even 100-fold. Even the maximum is possible in Yahweh. We can grow and grow and grow to become a very spiritual individual in the eyes of Almighty Yahweh. A very blessed, a very fruitful and productive life before Almighty Yahweh. This is what He's seeking. But it all depends on us. Are we providing the soil? Are we working that soil? And He said, who has an ear, let him hear. Today we can look at the farmers and the problems that they are having is all because of the soil. So much chemical is being used. So much problems because of the soil. And number one is that they are not resting the land. The soil needs that rest. If you obey Almighty Yahweh, you keep His commandment, you allow the land to rest for one entire year. In the 7th year, you are working the soil the way it should be. You are going to have productivity. You are going to have good crops. And on. You will have no need for all the chemicals that are being used today. But no one cares for the soil the way that they should. No one works the soil, the land, the way that they should. And we see this is why problem comes along. With all the weedicide that they use and the pesticide that they use, we see more weeds. We see more thorns, we see more grass, we see more problems. And you buy the vegetable or the fruit or whatever and it don't last. It is not good. It is not bringing forth good fruit because no one is preparing the land, the soil the way that it should be prepared. And so we can learn today just as Yahshua the Messiah uses parable. And we can look at the farmers today and we can see that this is true. Very important is the soil. You go out and you sow thousands of seed, thousands of plants that they go and they sow. And the crop is in and it is no good. It is no good for humanity as we partake of it. It gets us sick more than it gets us well and whole. The crops that Almighty Yahweh is looking for is to make others whole, is to heal others, to go forth spreading the love, the joy and the goodness. As we hear the word of Almighty Yahweh, what are we to bring forth? Are we to bring forth fruit that is going to destroy people? Are we to bring forth fruit that are going to sicken people? What type of soil was there when that seed was sown? Are we bringing forth the fruit that Almighty Yahweh is going to be pleased with so that people can eat it and enjoy it even and also be made whole by it? This is a parable that Yahshua the Messiah has been bringing to them, one that they can identify with. And this is a problem that we have here even in this country physically, where the crops are concerned. We can identify with this parable. We can understand how important it is to have that soil be good soil, that grown properly well prepared. They have problems with the drainage and problems with the flooding and stuff like that, destroying the crop, poisoning the crop, and then bringing it for you to eat. What is going to happen? Are they preparing the soil and the ground the way it should be? Again, we bring this into our spiritual life, and we see how important it is to allow that seed to rest on good ground. We have to prepare that soil, that ground is our hearts. And if our hearts are not right, and the seed of the word can come and come and come, and it is not going to take root, it is not going to spring up, and it is not going to bring forth good fruit. And when he was alone, they that were about him, when the 12 asked of him the parable, and he said to them, to you it is given the mystery of the kingdom of Yahweh, but to them that are outside all things are done in parables. And seeing that they may see and not perceive, and hearing they may hear and not understand, lest at some time they should turn again and should be forgiven them. And he said to them, know you not this parable? And how shall you know all these parables? The sower sows the word. Again, as he unfolds the parable for them, he's letting us know that the sower goes forth and sows the word. And these are those by the wayside where the word is sown, and when they have heard, immediately Satan comes and takes away the word which has been sown to them. The birds again, the fowl of the air, the heavens, it come always around flying, all over seeking like the vultures, seeking what they can eat up. And so our Satan is there waiting for, as the word is sown, to plug it out from those hearts that are not ready and not right. The wayside is not where the sower is targeting. He's not targeting the wayside. But those seeds that fall on the wayside are going to be eaten up easily. But if you are the good soil, he's targeting you, and he wants that seed to go on your heart, to rest there and to germinate and to spring up and to bring forth good fruit. This is what it is about. So see that you are good heart, good mind, clean hands and pure heart we've been through for Almighty Yahweh, so that when the word comes, it's going to rest there, and as it rests, it's going to germinate, and there is no way for the evil one to come. It goes down, that seed, once the soil is right, that seed is going to go down and be covered by the soil, and it's going to be germinated, and it's going to spring up quickly and be strong. But if there is no good soil, the sun is going to come out and burn away that seed. The bird is going to come and pluck it away because the soil is not right. And these in like manner are they that are sown among the rocky place, who when they have heard the word immediately receive it with joy. They have no root in themselves, it all belongs to you. When the seed is sown, it is all up to you now. That is in your hands, to provide, to keep, to guard, to prepare at all times, so that that seed can spring up. Immediately they will receive it with joy. They have no root in themselves, but endure for a while. Yes, it's going to look good, as though it's springing up healthy. But what is going to happen? For a while, then when tribulation, as the sun comes out, the sun, the heat, the trials, the tribulation, the testing, the adversary comes, or he sends someone, are you going to be standing still? Is that plant going to be able to bear the temperature that is going to be coming up against it? It needs the good soil. If there is that good soil, that plant is going to be able to overcome, to bear and to endure. But if it is not founded upon that good soil, it's going to wither away and die. Tribulation is going to come. Even persecution is going to come. And for this cause our hearts must be prepared. Accept the word. See that it is within the heart, hidden there. And see that it is springing up. It is growing strong and healthy, and even bringing forth fruit. Because tribulation is coming. We are in a time of trouble. Persecution arises because of the word. You have the word in you, and so the persecution is going to come. If you don't have the word, you don't experience that. You don't come behind anything that is not to bring forth. You know, business for that. But he comes behind those that are to bring forth fruit. Those who are given the word to bring forth. Yahweh has given us the word because he has seen that we can bring forth fruit, even 100-fold. But are we doing our part? That which he has seen in us, are we using it? Or are we allowing it to lie dormant in us? The ability that he sees in us, that he has placed in there. He knows that it is there. This is why he has caused the word to rest in our heart. But are we doing our part? He gives us that privilege to do our part, because he has already placed what he has placed in us. and He wants us to work. He has given us that land, and He wants us to work with it. He has given us the talent, and He wants us to use it. Tribulation, yes. Persecution, yes. It will come because you have accepted the word of Yahweh. Because you are listening to the word of Yahweh. The busy one don't want you to produce. It arises because of the word. Immediately they stumble. Don't stumble. Allow the word to take root in your heart. Prepare that soil so that you will not, so that you may not stumble. And others are they that are sown among the thorns. These are they that have heard the word. Yes, there are many that have heard the word. Yahweh, He has called so many, and yet few are chosen. The cares of the world. You see, this is the thorns. The cares of the world. Yes, we have it with us. You go out there planting a garden. Who doesn't have problems with the thorns? Who doesn't have problems with the weed? Don't matter what you do. We are in the world, and we are going to have that to deal with. The cares of the world. How are we going to handle this? Are we going to allow it to take us over? If you have a garden, are you going to allow the weeds to take over your plant? You're going to leave it like that and have it grow over your plant and vines tie it up and it's pulling it down? You can look outside and we can see that. Are you going to allow that? The cares of this world, they are present. We are not putting them there. Almighty Yahweh is the one. He plants the wayside flowers. He paints them beautifully. He plants the trees, the herbs, the vine, and everything. But we have to do our part. We have to have the wisdom to know what to take out, what to put in, what to leave in the field. And so He has given us that ability to know and to understand while the weeds are there, how we deal with them. And be very careful. I remember when we were little children and we were sent to clean up the weeds in the field, we had to be very careful that we doesn't pluck up the plant. Sometimes we do that and we push it on back fast so that your parents doesn't see you. And lo and behold, the sun come out and they can see every plant that was plucked up, and you push it back down because it's going to show its bow its head. And they say, what happened? You pull out this plant? You thought you could have hide it from there. But it is there. We have to be very, very careful. Don't let it overpower you. The cares of this world and even the deceitfulness of riches. We go after it because of the flesh. I want this, I want that, I always want. But you know what? Yahweh is my shepherd, David said. I shall not want. I shall not be wanting. In the flesh, this is the desire of the flesh, to want more and more and more. And we allow it. It comes and it chokes the word. And it destroys us. This is what it does to us. If we allow it, it destroys us. We go after money, we go after wealth and riches and whatever in this life, the temporary things, it is going to destroy us. We have to see further in the path of salvation than these things that Yahweh has said that He is going to supply. Yes, He caused the wheat to grow up. We have to see beyond those things, the cares of this world, the deceitfulness of riches, the loss of other things, anything else other than Yahweh. Loss is a desire. You desire anything else other than Yahweh, it's going to choke the word. You will not be able to concentrate, to see, to focus. You will have excuses. I cannot come because. I cannot come because. Yahshua tells us this in parable. I married a wife, I cannot come. I brought 2 new oxen, I cannot come. I have this to do, I have to bury my father, I cannot come. The cares of this life, the deceitfulness of riches, that chokes the word, and it becomes unfruitful. That is very sad. To see the plant grow up and doesn't bring forth a fruit. A waste of time. This is what it is. To have a plant, to have a field that is unfruitful. It is sad to the farmer, what they see. I waste. I lost money, big time. Thousands of dollars gone down. I didn't reap the fruit. Because of what? Spiritually, the cares of this world, the deceitfulness of riches, the loss of anything else other than Yahweh entering in is going to devour that plant and see that that plant doesn't bring forth fruit. We are here to bring forth fruit. Always remember, anything that will prevent us from bringing forth fruit must be plucked up out of our life and thrown away to burn. We don't play with it. We don't keep it around. It is going to see that we are unproductive. It is going to see that we are unfruitful. Remove it as we prepare that soil, so that as the sower sows, the seed is going to spring forth. And those that were sown upon good grounds, what about that? A blessing for those who prepare the good ground, such as hear the word and accept it. This is where we want to be. We want to be among those who prepare the good soil, make it ready for the sower, and it is accepted, and also bring forth fruit, 30-fold, 60-fold, and 100-fold. He said to them, is the lamp brought forth to put under the bushel? Or do we do that? Do we put the lamp underneath? The lamp is the Torah. The Torah is the word of Almighty Yahweh. Are we to cover it under the bushel? Take garbage and throw on top of it? No. Or under the bed, and not to be put on a stand. For there is nothing hid, save that it should be manifest. Neither was anything made secret, but that it should come to the light. He's showing us the power of Almighty Yahweh. Nothing can hide from Almighty Yahweh, and we cannot say anything as an excuse to Almighty Yahweh, because He has called us, because He saw something in us. He has chosen us again because He knows us, and we have the ability to do. We cannot hide from Almighty Yahweh and make excuses. He's not going to accept that, because the light again always is going to be placed on the stand, and those that are in the house, they can see, and whatever is in secret, it's going to be manifested by Almighty Yahweh. Let us live that life to please Him. He has called, He has chosen us, He has placed His word in us, and it is up to us to do our part now with the word of Almighty Yahweh. And He has promised that He's going to grant us eternal life if only we will do our part. If any man have an ear, let him hear. And He said to them, take heed what you hear. Again, even taking a little further. What you hear, with what measure you measure, it shall be measured to you, and more shall be given to you. So we have to be very, very careful with what we hear. There are a lot of voices today in the world, as we heard earlier, a lot of voices, and we have to be careful which voice are we listening to. Yahshua spoke to them and He said, be careful what you hear. For what you measure, it shall be measured again to you, and even more. Are you going to accept the voice of strangers? My sheep hear my voice, Yahshua the Messiah said. They will not follow another, because that voice is going to lead them astray. If you follow another voice to do evil, to do wrong, to allow the seed to be choked because of the cares of this life, and that voice is saying to you, what are you going to do? You're going to leave your church like that? You're going to leave your house like that? You're going to study your wife, or study this, or study that? The next voice is saying to you. Are you going to listen to that voice and not attend to the soil to see that it is properly well worked, so that the seed can be sown and bring forth fruit? Again, this is what Yahshua is saying. It's going to be measured to you again, more even. Yahweh is going to judge, as we heard the message this morning. His wrath is going to pour down, and even more of His wrath upon those that He has called and chosen. The scripture said, too much is required from those who much is given. He's looking for us to bring forth fruit, because He has been given to us much. And we are going to be beaten with many stripes. This is what the word tells us, because the measure we measure, if it's not pleasing to him, it's going to be measured back to us from the cup, the wrath of Yahweh, and he's going to add, because we know better and we are not doing. Let us not listen to other voices. Listen to the voice of Almighty Yahweh. For he that has, to him shall be given, and he that has not, from him shall be taken away, even that which he has. Be careful. Yahweh has given. He has blessed us, and we have to be very careful with the talents that he has given us, and work that talent so that it can bring forth fruit. It is all about work. For the night is coming when man work the Lord. The adversary don't want us to work for Yahweh. He wants us to work for him. Listen to his voice. Hate one another. Despise one another. Despise Yahweh and his word. Reject it. This is what he wants us to do. Verse 26, he said, so is the kingdom of Yahweh. And if a man should cast seed upon the earth, and should sleep, and arise night and day, and the seed should spring up and grow, he knows not how. Again, it is Yahweh's doing to cause it to grow, to spring up, to even bring forth fruit. But without that soil, without you, without me doing our part, it is not going to produce. Yahweh is not going to bless simply like that. He's the one that causes the plants to grow. If the land is not resting in the Shemitah, then the plant is not going to grow and flourish and produce as it should, because we are breaking the laws of the one who causes the plant to produce and flourish. The same way spiritually. If we are not doing to please him, we are not going to be able to bring forth fruit. But when the fruit is ripe, immediately he put forth the sickle, because the harvest is come. This is what he's saying. First the earth bring forth the fruit for itself, first the blade, then the head, then the full grain appears. And when there is fruit, so the farmer comes and he harvests the fruit. And he said, how shall we liken the kingdom of Yahweh? Or in what parable shall we set it forth? It is like a grain of mustard seed, which when it is sown upon the earth, though it be less than all seeds that are upon the earth, yet when it is sown, grows up and becomes greater than all the herbs, and put out great branches, so that the birds of the heaven can lodge under the shadows of it. So we don't look at the size of the seed. It is not us to determine whether it's going to bring forth much or little. It is Yahweh's. Allow the seed to be sown, whether it is small or whether it is great, whether the message may be short or long, whether it may seem simple, whether it may seem something that you know. To you it may be a small or a little message, not so insignificant. Allow it to be sown, because Yahweh is the one that is going to cause it to grow and flourish and do great works for him. This is the parable of the mustard seed. And with many such parables spoke he the word to them, as they were able to hear it. And without a parable he did not speak unto them, but privately to his own disciples he expounded all things. Yahshua the Messiah again, the good teacher. We can follow him. We can listen to him. He will not lead us astray. He's showing to us the importance of the soil. The title of this message is Being Good Soil. He's showing us our work that we have to do is to see that we've prepared the soil, cause it to be good as the soil goes out to sow, so that we can bring forth. Yahweh is interested in the fruits that we bring forth. Each one has their work to do, but the fruits is going to be gathered up into the garner for eternity with Almighty Yahweh. This is what he is interested in. He sent the prophets before to work the soil, the land. He sent Yahshua the Messiah. He sent the apostles. He has us today working in the field. He is seeking good fruit. The outcome must be good fruit for the glory and the honor of Almighty Yahweh. We have our part to do. The sower, the soil, the harvester, everyone has their part to do for Almighty Yahweh. because he is interested in the good fruit. This is what he is waiting on in the end and the last day too, to welcome in the good fruit in the garden forever. But what about those grains that are not wholesome grain? The chaff, he's going to tell Yahshua, burn them in the lake of fire. I don't want them. I'm not interested in that. I've been working with all before. I'm interested in the good fruit, the outcome of it all. In Matthew chapter 13, we see here also Yahshua the Messiah, and the account of Matthew, speaking about the sower, the importance of the soil. Matthew 13 and verse 19. When anyone hears the word of the kingdom and understand it not, then comes the evil one and snatches away that which has been sown in his heart. You hear the word, but you never allow it to fall on good soil in your heart. You didn't prepare your heart. The evil one is going to come and snatch it away. And instead of love Yahweh with all your heart and soul and mind that you have heard, and you didn't prepare that soil to cause that to grow and germinate, bring forth fruit and go forth and love others, the adversary come take it away. And what he's saying to you, hate Yahweh with all your heart, hate your neighbor, hate everyone. It's not about love. He took it away. This is what he did to Eve. Then come the evil one. He snatches away that which has been sown in the heart. Yahweh sent the word to rest upon the good soil that you should have prepared in the heart. And if you didn't do that, the bird is coming. The birds, they are all around. They're coming to plug it out and go with it and leave something there. You know, the bird always leaves things behind. The bird jumping. You don't want that. They eat and they leave something behind for you. And so this is what they leave. They turn things around. Oh, love, hate, don't care for, despise. You know, despise. Give them what they don't like, what they don't want. This is what the adversary is about. This is he that was sown by the wayside, and he that was sown upon the rocky place. This is he that hears the word and straightway with joy he receives it, yet has not root in himself, but endure for a while, and when tribulation arises because of the word, straightway he stumbles. He that was sown among thorns, this is he that hears the word, and the cares of the world, the deceitfulness of riches, chokes the word, and it becomes unfruitful. This is what Yahshua is saying in Matthew's account. And what about the good soil? He that was sown upon good ground, this is he that hears the word. This is what we have to do. This is what we want to do. We are interested in this. Let us listen. Let us see how we can be good, providing good soil. He hears the word and understands it. If you need understanding, the scripture tells us to ask of Yahweh, who gives wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. We are hearing the word. We want to understand it. Very important. He understands it. Who truly bears fruit and bringeth forth some 100-fold, some 30, and some 60 and 30. We want to bring forth fruit. We have to understand, first of all. If you don't understand, you are to ask a question. Ask of Yahweh. Ask of someone who understands. And so you are going to be able to do your part in seeing that you prepare the soil properly each time for the word of Almighty Yahweh. Another parable said before them, saying, the kingdom of heaven is likened to a man that sowed good seed in his field. This is another parable that we can learn from. This man went out and he sowed good seed. He prepared his field and he sowed good seed. While he slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat. The tares is the false grain. It looks like the wheat, but it doesn't bring forth any wholesome grain. So while this man went forth, prepared his field, and he sowed good seed in there. This enemy come in the night while he's asleep. And he went also and sowed the evil seed there in the field to confuse the sower, to confuse this farmer. So he'll be looking at the field every day and say, wow, it's growing nice. It's difficult to identify the tear from the wheat while they're growing up. They look alike. And so he's going to say, yeah, I feel you're going good. Not knowing that the enemy has sown tears. They look alike, but it is not. False wheat, false grain. He sowed there. He sowed the tears among the wheat and went away. This is what the adversary is about. He's going to come among us, sow the tear, discord even, and he's going to go. He has already sowed that seed. It's going to grow. It's going to germinate. Beware of it. But when the blades sprung up and brought forth fruit, then appeared the tears also. So the wheat is grown up now. The tear also grown up. And the wheat is throwing forth his body. Now, we are looking now. And the servant of the householder come and said to him, Sir, did you not sow good seed in this field? I thought you had sown wheat and good wheat alone. Where then has the tears? From where come the tears? And he said to them, an enemy has done it. This man has experience. He knows who does it. The enemy, this is not from Yahweh. This should not be in this house. This should not be in this room. This should not be among us. It didn't come from the sower, from Yahweh, but it came from the enemy. An enemy has done this. And the servant said to him, will you then that we go and gather them up? Well, let me go and pull out all them tears and cast them away. But he said, no, hold your brakes, wait, lest while you gather up the tears, you root up the wheat with them also. The snare, the trap, the gin of the adversary work in so many different ways. You have to be very, very careful. When there is a bomb set, you have to be very, very careful when you are entering close to that. Anything can cause it to trigger off. If you clip the wrong wire, you can be in trouble. You have to be an expert to put out that. And so he is saying, no, don't go and pluck up the tears yet, lest you pull the wheat out. We don't want to lose any of the wheat. We don't want to lose any of the souls that Almighty Yahweh has chosen, has blessed us with. Let both of them grow together until the harvest. Be wise as a serpent, Yahshua said to them, and yet harmless as a dove. Iscariot, as we were speaking, he was sitting right there next to Yahshua. Yahshua the Messiah didn't pluck him out until the time of harvest. Until that point reached that Yahweh is going to reveal and move them out. We don't pull them out. No, Yahweh is the one. He's going to remove them. Let both of them grow together until the harvest. And in the time of the harvest, I will say to the reapers, go. Yahweh is going to send his angels, the reapers, gather up first the tear. He's the one that can identify them. Yahweh and Yahshua the Messiah. He can identify all the hypocrites, all the foolish better than we think we can. Yes, we can see certain fruits, but let it rest. Let Yahweh do his work. He is going to identify them in time, and he's going to gather them out and bind them in bundles to burn them. Yes, and gather the wheat in his barn. First, we notice what he's going to do. Move the tares. Move the unfruitful grain. The goats he's going to take out from among the sheep. Throw them into the fire to burn, and then the sheep. The wheat into the garden forevermore with Almighty Yahweh. Let us be faithful in what Almighty Yahweh has called us to. to be faithful in the field, to be watchful, to be careful. The evil one is like a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour, seeking to sow evil seeds among the wheat. Let us identify it, be watchful. Don't just run and pluck out, but leave that up to Almighty Yahweh. But notice it as it grows close to you. Notice it, so that you will know that it is a tear, and you will be able to live to suit. In Matthew 7, as we close, Yahshua the Messiah wants us, this is why he teaches us, to be wise, to be what? We live in a world full with evil, full with hypocrisy, full with wrongdoers, filled in darkness. This is what we are, the only little light burning here. And this world, this darkness of this world is seeking to get us out. We must have wisdom. We must have knowledge and understanding in order to be able to sow in such a field. The field is the word. And to be able to see that our ground, our soil is good. To be able to have a good crop. You have to be a good farmer. Very, very important. So that you can have a good crop to bring to Almighty Yahweh. And this is what Yahweh wants from each and every one of us. He wants us to bring forth fruit to Him. In Matthew 7 and verse 13. He said, enter you by the narrow gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the way that leads to destruction, and many are they that enter through it. For narrow is the gate and straight in the way that leads to life, and few are they that going to find it. The way to life is given to those who bring forth fruit, and even much fruit for Almighty Yahweh's honor and glory. And those who are given the talent and went forth and buried it, and they didn't bring forth fruit. Yahshua said, even that what they think they have is going to be taken away from them. Let us seek continually the narrow way. Is the good way, the way that pleases Almighty Yahweh. And that way is to bring forth fruit for His name, honor, and glory. Beware of the false prophet again. Those that are coming to sow the tear among you, among the wheat. Beware of them. Watch out. Listen first to begin to the voice of Yahweh, Yahshua the Messiah said. Listen to the voice of Yahshua the Messiah. He is the good shepherd. The good shepherd laid down his life for the sheep. The false one is going to lead you astray. Beware of them who comes to you in sheep clothing, well dressed up like the farmer. He's looking like you even, coming in your field to sow evil seed, to cause your crop to be unfruitful. We want to be good soil. We want to be fruitful plants, bringing forth for Yahweh's honor and glory. They are clothing, but sheep clothing. Inwardly they are ravenous wolves. They come to devour. Beware of them. By their fruits you shall know them. Yes, every plant is going to bring forth a fruit. Those that doesn't bring forth, already they are hewn down and cast into the fire. But by their fruits, you're going to know if they are good grain or not, if they are wanted or not by Almighty Yahweh. Do men gather grapes of thorns or figs of thistles? I don't think so. Even so, every good tree bring forth good fruit. Yahweh would not have chosen us if we are not. If we are not able to bring forth a good fruit. But He has selected us because He has seen something in us that can work. And He can work with to bring forth good fruit. So every good tree is going to bring forth good fruit. But the corrupt tree brings forth evil fruit. And in this room we are among those that are good trees. Good soil as we work, preparing so that we can bring forth good fruit. A good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit, neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit. Every tree that brings not forth good fruit is hewn down and cast into the same fire. The tares, they are going, the chaff. Only the wholesome grain goes into the garner, the barn, forevermore with Yahweh. The rest is to be burned, to gather up together and be burned. Therefore by their fruits you shall know them. Then everyone that said to me, Master, Master, watch out. He's teaching us. Listen, they're going to be coming, saying Yahweh, saying Yahshua, saying Master, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven. Yes, that tree is springing up fast. It is excited. And so when the sun comes out, it dies. But it is coming. Yeah, Yahshua, I know Yahweh, I know Yahshua. And among us, not everyone that says, Master, Master, shall enter into the kingdom. Those that bring forth fruit. Can you remain until you bring forth fruit? You see, most of the soil are not able to keep that plant until it brings forth fruit. Early in the stages, it is died, withered away, or plucked up. The only soil that aids that plant to bring forth good fruit is the good one. And this is what Yahshua is talking about. He that does the will of the Father who is in heaven. This is the one that is going to endure. This is the one that is going to bring forth fruit and is going to be in Yahweh's kingdom. Many will say to me in that day, Master, did we not prophesy in your name? And by your name cast out demons? And by your name do mighty works? Yeah, we use the name Yahweh. We say we do things in his name. But what Yahshua is going to say to them in the last days, who were hypocrites, he said, I will say to them, I never know you. Depart from me, you that work lawlessness. You not work in righteousness. You know, you will not work in the soil the way it should have been worked. You were not resting the land in the 7th year. You were not doing what is right and pleasing in the sight of Yahweh. I don't know you. It wasn't me working with you. So I don't know you. Your works is saying that you are not of Almighty Yahweh. Everyone therefore that hear these words of mine, to hear and to listen, to have circumcised hand, and thus them shall be likened to a wise man that built his house upon the rock. Solid foundation for the house, not for the plant. You know, put the plant on the rock, you see the difference. But we put the house on the rock. The rain descended, the flood came, the wind blew and beat upon the house. So when we go forward, we look for good soil to sow the seed. Soil that can work the seed, germinate and bring forth. When we go to build a house, we look for the rock, and the rock represents Yahshua the Messiah, a strong foundation that can stand the test of time. So the wind will blow and beat upon the house, and it is going to fall if it is not founded upon the rock. But when it is upon the rock, it can take the persecution, the tribulation and the trial, and stand forever. And everyone that hears these words of mine and does them not shall be likened to a foolish man who built his house upon the sand. How strong is the sand to build a house? The rain descended, the flood came, the wind blew and dashes against the house, and it fell. They're not going to remain standing. And great was the fall of it. It came to pass when Yahshua had finished these words, the multitude were astonished at his teaching. This is our rabbi. This is our teacher. He taught with authority. And this is what we are receiving today. Teachings with authority from the word of Almighty Yahweh. Teaching to build up and not to tear down. To encourage, to strengthen, and to cause us to march on to Zion, the beautiful city of Almighty Yahweh. And may Yahweh bless us as we continue to do his will, as we grow in grace, doing our part, be in good soil so that he can sow good seed and we can bring forth fruit even to 100-fold. May I bless you.